Monday.
Good.
Yeah. But she didn't mention anything about being there today, so.
You can go ahead and start the meeting, Gina. Gina, you can start the meeting.
Okay. Well, welcome to the LAVTA Projects and Services meeting on November 28th. Can I get a roll call, please?
Yes, Vice Chair Brown,
Here.
Director Josie,
Here.
Chair Bonanno.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, very good. If you give me just a moment, I'm going to bring up the agenda. Apologize for not having it up already. Bear with me one moment. Okay, so we are on to a public forum. This is an opportunity for members of the public to talk to us about anything they'd like to share, not on this afternoon's agenda. Jennifer, do we have anybody from the public who would like to comment?
So currently we don't have any attendees in this meeting, and I didn't receive any public comment via email.
Very good, thank you. So we will go ahead and close the public forum and move on to agenda item number 4, which is approval of the minutes from our September 26th meeting of the Projects and Services Committee. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved. Josie?
Second, Brown.
Thank you. We have a motion first and second. Could we get a vote, please, Jennifer?
Yes, Vice Chair Brown,
Yes.
Director Josie,
Yes.
Chair Bonanno.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. We'll close that item and move on to item 5, which is a special MTC FY 24-28 short range transit plan. And I think we're going to have a staff report on that.
Yes, so I'm filling in for Tony. He had an emergency and had to leave. So he asked me to cover, and I will do my best to answer questions. Every so often we have to do a short range transit plan and a long range transit plan. And as I'm sure you recall, you just approved a short range transit plan in June. And you just did work on your long range transit plan. So this is a special order from MTC. They actually had us do a number of these types of scenarios at the start of the pandemic, but they need a more formal one for what they're trying to do now. So essentially where this is different than our short range transit plan is our short range transit plan uses kind of their regional predictions. MTC kind of tells us where they really think revenues are going, and ACTC tells us where they think revenues are going. But MTC is working to obtain additional funding. And so they needed transit agencies to do an SRTP that would show kind of what would happen if revenues don't go in that direction. So they sent us the numbers. We had to use their numbers in terms of revenues. And then we had to say, if this was the scenario for revenues, this is how we would respond in terms of our expenses. So they gave us 3 scenarios to use, and one was kind of that everything, all the revenues, fare box and tax-based grants, everything go back to pre-pandemic levels, which is what we're all hoping for. So we did that scenario, and then the current state of service, what your current budget is, the hours you're currently running, what you're already doing. And then there's the scenario of if your taxes stayed, but your ridership doesn't come back, and so your fare box revenue decreases, how would you respond to that? And just as a heads up, our fare box is actually only about 15% of our normal budget. So that one's not a huge change considering. And then what if there were no relief funds and all the revenue went down by 15%? All the tax revenue, all the ridership, everything went down by 15%. How would you respond? And our responses were kind of already done because we had a similar scenario set up when the pandemic started. What we were doing, is more based on ridership, but we also had as the revenue decreased, how would we handle it? So that's what we have put in the report. And then we did revenue projections based on, again, what they gave us. They look a little more bleak than what our actual short range transit plan has in it. But what they're doing is everyone turned in their regular SRTP, and the SRTPs looked, okay, but they're going to go out and lobby for us to get more relief funding from the state and from the feds and from everybody else. So they need the scenarios to show, hey, if we don't get these relief funding, we're going to have to cut a bunch of service, and people won't be able to get to work, that kind of thing. You may have read about this. BART's exercise was in the newspaper last week, and so that's kind of what they're looking for from everybody, so that they can show the fiscal cliff. It's an exercise and it needs board approval, which is why we're here. But I really don't want anyone to take those numbers as gospel, because they also told us don't use any of your reserves or anything else in your scenarios. So LAVTA, all the agencies in the Bay Area have a fiscal cliff, but where they are is all different. BART's is how it is because they rely very heavily on fare box recovery and less so on everything else. And most of the transit agencies in the Bay Area, well, I'm gonna say probably no other transit agency in the Bay Area has a year's worth of operating in our reserves. So our fiscal cliff is way out. A lot of it depends on, decisions in terms of what we spend in capital and that kind of thing. But that wasn't part of this exercise. So Tony actually did all the numbers because I was crazy busy. And so he chipped in. So if I don't have the answer to your question, I will be happy to find out the answer to your question and email you. So I will do my best. And that's all I got.
Okay, thank you, Tamara. Let me just ask, I don't think we have any members of the public, but just for the record, I will ask, are there any members of the public that would like to speak to us about item number 5?
No, we don't have any attendees in this meeting still. And we didn't receive anything. Carla's got her hand raised, but we didn't receive anything via email either.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you, Jennifer. So we'll close the public forum, and I see that Director Brown has her hand up.
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to make sure I understand. And absolutely, I too have been reading these scary forecasts if federal funding stops for some of our transit agencies in the region. But Tamara, when you said, I want to make sure I understand, it was 1.5 fare box recovery for our organization. Is that 15% of our revenue?
Pre-pandemic, 15% of our revenue is fare box. Certain routes are higher, like our Route 30 runs about 22%. Pre-pandemic, it's like 13 right now, but most of our system overall is 15%, and paratransit's much lower.
Mm-hmm. Right. And okay, and then when we look at, since this is a short range plan, SRTP, short range transit plan. Yeah. Break it down. I was like, what's the P? It almost sounds like a fuel additive, STP. But for our short range transit plan, we're also looking at an expansion and a relocation to our offices. So are you making note in the plan? When I read it through, I didn't see note that would be all on hold.
No, that's not in this plan at all, because that wasn't something that MTC, they weren't as concerned with the capital side of it. I guess, in theory, the politicians don't care if we get a new building, but they do want people served. Well, I mean the people with the really big money, like the MTA, they want to make sure we're serving the public. That's their bigger concern. They don't care if we're sitting in hallways or anything.
Okay, federal money.
But in our actual SRTP that you guys approved in June, the expenses that they, hey, if we pay for the Atlantis facility, if we get federal funding, which is the goal, right, or some sort of big funding, we're paying 20%, that's going to draw this much out of reserves. That's all in there. And of course, it would come down to the board to decide, operations or capital. What's not in this scenario, it really should be, but it's not, is what are you doing if you can't get any drivers? Because that's really the situation we're in. Our agency has the money to run full service pre-pandemic levels, but we don't have the drivers to do it.
Mhm.
So they didn't, that's not a scenario because that's not going to help them get the funding. But I think that would have been actually a much more interesting exercise, at least in my
Mhm.
opinion.
Yeah, it was in our June short range plan.
Right, that we would not be able to ramp up to full service. Yeah, it's not necessarily money that's holding us back.
Right. And I thought it was interesting about the different levels of if, we're at this point, we're going to reduce these operation lines, this point, and then the final one is everything's shut down, we're not running anything. So
Yeah,
Armageddon has occurred. Yeah. Okay.
yeah. The goal is to
Alright.
never reach anything near that, but that
Absolutely. Yeah.
that could happen.
Okay. All right. Thank you for the presentation. That is my question.
Thank you.
I have a follow-up to that. So you restricted your 15% fare box recovery to pre-pandemic levels. What is it now? I mean, what is it? Yeah, what is it currently? Is it about the same or different?
Keep talking for a minute and let me open up the ACFR.
It doesn't have to be precise. I'm just curious, where are we relative to that same metric?
I'm going to say it's probably around 10, but that's completely a guess.
Less, more or less is actually good enough for what I was curious about.
Yeah, I'd say it's probably around 10%, maybe even less. But
Okay. And another thing you said that's interesting was if we had drivers, we could return. I'm not sure we would, but you said
Right.
we could return to pre-pandemic levels if it's only for want of drivers that's preventing us from doing that right now.
financially, yes, we could return to, right. We probably wouldn't with the current ridership levels and the current demand. There's,
We would or would not.
we probably would not. Right. Sending out empty buses to just drive around
Sure.
is kind of, although there are arguments for that, most of us here find that silly. So we probably, we're actually not looking to bring our entire how do I want to put it? We aren't necessarily looking, oh, I was wrong. It's 13.1%, and in 21 it was 7.6. So
Okay.
not horrible. But yeah, we have kind of scenarios like when the ridership hits here and when we have enough drivers. So our next plan is to return the Route 10 to 15-minute headways from the day peak to peak.
So we have a set of gates that we're looking at when things get to certain levels. If we have the drivers, we can bring that back. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. I was you just sparked my interest when you said it's only drivers at this point.
Yeah. Financially, we could do it, but
Yeah.
correct. There were some routes that even pre-pandemic didn't have a lot of ridership, and you don't want to. If instead of running the route for 2 people, they could use Go Tri-Valley, and we would save a fortune.
Right.
So,
Okay. Very good. Any other questions? Director Josie?
This might be slightly off topic, but I tried to use Go Tri-Valley today and was unable to do so based on both apps and the website.
hey, Town. That's his project. I'm like, I've never even used the app because I only use Uber when I'm out of town. So,
According to our website, you need to download a voucher for Uber, and that link doesn't seem to work. And then you're supposed to put in a code for Lyft, and there's no place within the app to do so. So I was unable to use the Go Tri-Valley, and I'm absolutely willing to submit that this was 100% user error, but perhaps not, and perhaps we could make it easier. First of all, I had a very hard time even finding information on our website about it. And I spent a little bit of time searching on our website, and our search function doesn't seem to be terribly robust. And this is completely off of our agenda, so I don't want to spend too much time on it, but we might want to make that a little bit more user friendly. I mean, it certainly saves us money if people can't figure out how to use it, but that's not our intent. So maybe a discussion at another meeting would be great on making sure that we are all walking through the details of how to use it so that we can help our constituents, but also so that, we're quality control testing it to make sure that it works as intended and that people can find it and can use it easily.
No, that's great feedback. I mean, with the old website, I know it's front and center where you can click on it and it will take you to the Go Tri-Valley page where it will describe the process, what you need to do step by step in the Q&A session. But we haven't received any calls since we launched the new website. So I'll definitely go back and look to see if those are issues that our end user are experiencing.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tom, and thank you for that trial run. Okay, anything else on this topic? I think we need a motion and
Yes, please.
I'm happy to move that we recommend approval to the full board.
And I'll second that.
okay, first and second, Jennifer, get a roll call, please.
Vice Chair Brown,
Yes.
Director Josie,
Yes.
Chair Bonanno,
Yes.
motion passes.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to item 6, which is a preview of upcoming project and services committee agenda items.
Okay, before I do that, I want to introduce everybody to Nathan Barreras. I know I'm going to pronounce that wrong. Sorry, Nate. He started last Monday, and he is our new capital projects manager. So you will be seeing a lot of him because he'll be bringing the projects that he's going to be managing to this committee. So
Welcome, Nathan.
Yes, welcome. We're looking
you.
forward to more capital projects.
Oh,
yes,
definitely.
The more capital to go with those new projects would be great.
Mhm.
We'll work on that too.
we're in a crazy situation where we have a bunch of projects that have grants that we haven't been able to start. So Nate's going to do that, and then that will free up Jennifer Yeamans to go apply for more grants for more projects. So
Awesome.
we will be very busy.
Thank you and welcome again, Nathan. Okay, so do we have do you want to say anything about upcoming agenda items? Let me stop you for a moment if I could.
Yeah.
Director Brown?
Sorry, I thought you were moving on to the next agenda item. Under matters initiated.
Well, I'll just do this real quick now that I've actually looked at it. It looks like in January, we're having our results from our Dial-A-Rate customer satisfaction survey. And all the other months will be about the same. There will be things coming up. They're just not on here yet. But Nate will be working. He's already jump-started on a couple projects. So Jennifer Yeamans has spent a lot of time with him going over the projects and priorities and what needs to be done next. So you'll be seeing things in the upcoming months.
Okay, thank you. I think we're ready now to move on to item 7, matters initiated by committee members.
Yes, if I may, thank you. I'll raise my hand, drop it down. Tamara, previously board members had a pass to ride the buses. And this was an intent to encourage ridership by board members. These are our quality control. We're not there to say, hey, do you know who I am? It's really to even anonymously or semi-anonymously use the services provided. I have had a pass, but it long expired. This is something in the past. I would like to have that consideration for next year for 2023 by all board members. And then even if there is any, I feel confident that Director Josie and Tone will be able to coordinate a communication on how best to use Tri-Valley Go. But there again, this idea of encouraging, we're a small number of board members for a large area. And if we really should be using the services that we're providing to our customers so that we can bring back to this board or to staff, how best to, from a firsthand point of view.
I could not agree more with that. It is still our policy for the bus passes. If it's expired, you just need to bring it in and Jennifer will give you a new sticker. If you can't find it or you don't have one, you need to just come in and she'll take your picture and she'll print the pass up for you right there.
Well, could I be a little bit lazy here and just use our pictures that you see on your own webpage.
Hey,
Because-
Jennifer, is that possible? I've never actually printed the badge.
Yeah,
don't know
we can do that.
You can do that?
That would be great. Send them on out to us and let's try to, even if it's a little bit of an effort, to use the services that we provide to our residents and give a little feedback. So that'd be great. Thank you, Jennifer and Tamara.
That'd be great.
Okay, I have one. Director Josie, do you have anything? This is my last committee meeting. I have one more board meeting on my schedule for Monday before I term out. So I will get to say goodbye then, but I'm wondering now that I've been chair for one meeting, I think I have to turn it back over, I assume, to Vice Chair Brown. Is that what's going to happen? And do we need to vote on anything? What do we do since this is my last committee meeting?
So the vice chair will,
Which is why I was, excuse me, which is why I was a little surprised that I had forgotten that I had been installed as chair, which is why this meeting started a little rough, because I thought that could possibly be true because I'm only here for one more meeting.
right? So it will, the vice chair will take over temporarily, but the actual chair will have to be from Livermore. So once we get that new appointment from Livermore, they get to be, chair pretty much right off the bat.
Oh, all right. Well, I'll
So,
give somebody a warning that they're going to be up the next meeting.
yeah.
Great, thank you. And I guess I'll sort of jump to number 8, but as part of item 7, is it planned to have a meeting the day after the Christmas holiday? Or is it something that needs to be decided now?
Usually we make it official, like the week before we send out an email saying, hey, we don't have anything for the agenda. I
Got it.
can pretty much guarantee that since most of the office won't be here, we're not going to have anything for the agenda.
Okay,
But just in case like MTC throws something at us at the last minute that they need done, we don't like to cancel till like the week before. But yeah.
okay, so I'll move to item 8 then, if no one has anything else.
Oh,
And
If I may, though, I agree, because many people have that Monday, because this is the day after Christmas, the Monday is the holiday. And I'm a little surprised that it's not considered a more of a regional or national holiday the day after Christmas.
Yeah.
So you happen to know, are most people getting then Friday off instead of
No.
that Monday?
So we have Monday off as a holiday. So you're right. It wouldn't be the 26th.
Yeah.
If we were to have the meeting, we could ask to move it to like the 27th, maybe even the week before. I'm going to be honest. I don't think the whole time I've been here, we've ever had a December committee meeting.
Yeah. And the
Because that would just too
27th,
crazy.
27th is the finance meeting. So that usually
Yeah.
follows on a Tuesday. So
Right. And we, again, I mean, to be honest, that week between Christmas and New Year's, there's usually like 2 of us here. So,
So it sounds as if the meeting is likely to be canceled. We're not going to officially do anything until the official notice comes out, which will be a week or so before the holiday.
right. And if something
Mara?
urgent comes up, we could always move the meeting a week earlier.
Tamara,
Jennifer?
we will need a special board meeting just due to the fact that we've got, I know I see your face, telecom.
Well, yeah, I would have picked that week.
No, it would need to be the week before.
Yeah, because it just any day that week is it's just crazy for everybody. The week before is crazy too because everyone's still shopping. So, but if it's a 5-minute meeting, we could probably fill it in. I forgot about the special board meetings.
Okay, I will, if there's nothing else, anybody have anything else? Any closing questions, comments, remarks? Okay, then I think we can adjourn this meeting to the next meeting, which is still scheduled for December 26th, but will likely be moved or canceled.
Yes.
All right, thanks, everyone.
thanks for
Thank you.
cheering.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.